to Michael Myers Minute, where we delve into the 1978 horror classic Halloween 1 minute at a time. I'm your host, Robert Black. Minute 49 begins with one of my favorite moments of the movie, and someone dared write it onto IMDb as a goof. When Paul calls the Wallace house and asks Lindsay to get Annie for him, she says okay, and then promptly hangs the phone up before leaving. That isn't a goof, that is Lindsay Doyle in a nutshell. She don't give a fuck. She's gotta go help Annie, and as I said in minute 48, miss some of the movie she's watching. Proper phone etiquette is the last of her worries. In fact, this little act of decorum defiance is her protest. Anyone who was with me back at the beginning of the Groundhog Day project or has listened to some of my comments in this podcast about IMDb goofs should know that their system bugs the crap out of me. Apparently, they have a list of goofs clearly written by committee and absolutely never double-checked for accuracy. I have guests, and I'm ranting, damn it, instead of making them feel welcome. August 30th, 2013, less than a month into my obsessive affair with Groundhog Day, I picked apart the goofs page for that film and edited. I believe it was every single goof. More than 5 years later, IMDb still has the same goofs listed. The goofs page at IMDb are like Wikipedia, a good place to begin, but if you need quotable sources, you go someplace else or you do the research yourself. Watch Groundhog Day more than 400 times, pick apart Halloween 1 minute at a time, and never trust some random, anonymous source that decided, for example, to call Lindsay Wallace hanging up on Paul a goof. It is not a goof, it is a goddamn brilliant piece of cinematic characterization. And as I write my notes for this minute, a different scene, a different movie comes to mind. The film Seven. The actor, R. Lee Ermey, middle of a conversation in the squad room, the phone nearby rings. He picks it up.
That's not even my desk.
And he hangs up the phone. But never mind whose desk it is or isn't. As I said, I've got guests. Sean German of 5 Minutes of Mime, Dave Pallas of 5 Minutes of Mystery. Oh, and they both did Groundhog Minute. Welcome, Sean and Dave.
Hey. Thanks for having us, Rob. Glad to be here.
Now, Dave, right off the bat, tell us about that nightmare.
Okay, yeah, so watching these minutes and then maybe eating chocolate before bed, I had two nightmares. They're both reasonably short, but definitely contributed because of me watching these minutes. All right, the first one, it takes place on my block. I'm guessing it's Halloween, but there's no I didn't see trick or treaters. It's a young blonde woman with 70s hair. It didn't look like Jamie Lee Curtis, but I'm assuming my subconscious was trying to do Jamie Lee Curtis. And so she's in a station wagon. And she's driving down the street. She's with people in the car, but it's not me. It's not first person. It's like I'm watching a movie. That's what it is. So I'm watching edits and cuts. So it's like my brain's watching an alternate ending to Halloween. And so she's driving the station wagon, and she sees Michael Myers, and she guns it, and she hits him, and he rolls over the car, and then she stops, and then she backs it up. I'm like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "I'm gonna finish him." And she backs over his body. Then she puts it in drive again, and she rolls, and then she does it again. And so we get a cut of the tire crushing the neck, and the head becomes dislodged. And she's like, "Grab the head." And then they're like, "What?" She's like, "Grab the head." I want his head. Grab his head. And so they grab his head. So someone's holding the head of Michael Myers, with the mask on, in the back seat. And then she's driving, and then they get to, I think it's an older man. I'm guessing it's it's not Dr. Loomis, but I'm guessing my brain was older gentleman. That's Dr. Loomis. It did not look like Donald Pleasance at all. So they bring him the head, and when they bring him the head, he turns it over and just leaves fall out of the mask. Like dried leaves.
Nice.
So that's the ending of the one. That's the ending of the one nightmare. And then the second one was, it's me and a bunch of people, and we'll walk around this house debating if we should go into it, saying oh, it's haunted. And so we're all looking for a way in. We're all and then so I step back and saying let me see if I can see if there's a window we can climb into. And I go, and I'm across the street, I'm looking at the house as people are walking in, and I hear someone say, "Oh, the basement window's loose. We'll go in." As they do, I look up and I see on the second floor window, I see half of Michael Myers' face and the knife. and I can't, and then no words. I'm trying to scream at them, and I'm paralyzed, and I can't yell at them to don't go in there, and it's just people are going in, and then Michael Myers he just turns and heads, and he leaves the room, heading, I'm guessing, and just into the darkness. There's no lights on. I guess it's like moonlight. I'm guessing is what I see reflected off of half of his mask and the knife. And I'm just trying to scream at people, and I can't. It's like in Terminator 2 with Sarah Connor. She can't let everyone know to watch out, the bomb's coming. It's like that. So that's how that. And that's all I can remember of those two nightmares.
And those were both recent?
Yeah, that was just last night.
Oh,
I've been holding on to that all day. I wrote it down. Don't forget this detail. I was just doodling everything. And I was kind of reading it over to myself, so I didn't forget that. Because I said the first one was watching a movie, and the second one was me and just people.
Nice. Now we've got guest questions right away. Well, a couple of them, and I'll start with Sean. You can answer first. Number 1, have you ever murdered anyone, or do you plan to?
Well, to the first question, no. To the second one, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
So you're open to it.
I don't want to, I don't want to overextend myself with commitments. I realize this is being recorded as evidence, so.
Yes, this is for the record.
Just say I can neither confirm nor deny.
And Dave, have you ever murdered anyone, or do you plan to?
No. And there have been moments where I thought it, and I was like, ugh, too much work. Because I was like, if you just do it, then the cops are gonna find out. And you're like, nah. You go, well, should I cover it up? And you go, oh my god, how much work it is. You're like, I should just call him an asshole under my breath and just be done with it.
That is easier.
Yeah. There's a lot of paperwork involved, a lot of cleaning supplies.
You got to deal with the body.
What an asshole! And then you just go on with your life.
Yeah, that's the thing that always amazed me about serial killers, and particularly the fictionalized version like Dexter. You watch a show like Dexter, and you're like, is this guy secretly identical triplets? Who just has that much time in the day?
Yeah, when did he sleep?
You got to plan the kill. You got to set up the kill room. You got to dispose of the body. Set up the alibi. It's just. Yeah.
Honestly, that's probably a good way to catch serial killers now. You'd be like, oh, have you been watching a new show on Netflix or Amazon? I'm like, no, I haven't had time. Like, well, what are you doing then? No. What are you watching? What are you watching in your free time? Oh, I just got hobbies. What are your hobbies? Oh no,
that's how you know.
Yeah.
Have you seen Haunting of Hill House? Yeah, I'll binge it later. Oh yeah, you're waiting till after Halloween? Come here. You're in the lineup, buddy. You're suspicious.
Yeah.
Unless they're podcasters, then they're too busy to finish anything.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. So they say, I'm really busy, but here, check out this link. I got it. Thanks.
Yeah, let me tell you about my podcast. No, please, you can go. You can go. Please go.
You're free to go.
Leave a review for iTunes. Go already. Please, for the love of God.
Yes, please leave a review. Number 2. What is your history with this movie, Halloween?
Well, I'll take that one. My history is when it comes to movies, I'm a little scaredy cat. Or I was. Let's say, when I was in my younger days, a movie like this, I wouldn't sleep for days. I would make sure every room I entered had a light on before I entered that room. I've become a little bit better. I've come to enjoy the horror film a little bit more in my later years. But certainly at the time when this came out, and when it would have been when I would have been watching it on either television or renting it on a tape, I would be avoiding this like the plague. I did not like scary movies as a child.
Do you know when you first saw it?
No, I don't remember. It definitely would not have been in the theater. It probably would have been one of those things, you sleep over, you have a bunch of little kids over, and someone else picks the movie, and so I end up not getting a lot of sleep that night. Yeah, though I think things did kind of change with Nightmare on Elm Street. Just to give a broader history of me with horror films in general.
Yeah.
I did see that in the theater.
The first one?
Yeah, the original. Yeah, the first Nightmare on Elm Street. I did see in the theater with my mother. She took me to see that. And that had enough mix. You know, Freddy is a wisecracker. He's a little bit of a stooge. He's cracking jokes. There's a little more humor to it, and that kind of provided a little bit of gateway. It's like, oh, I'm laughing, and yes, people are getting killed, and it's kind of scary, but I'm laughing at the same time. So that was kind of that might have been the beginning of the thaw, where like, okay, now I can start to appreciate these movies, even the ones that aren't in that vein of Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream, and the other ones that kind of mix the comedy. That kind of opened the door for some of the more serious horror films.
My mother showed me Halloween when I was probably like 4 or 5.
God.
The first time. But when we saw Nightmare on Elm Street at a drive-in, she thought it was too much, and like we drove away partly like in the middle of the movie, and I'm like leaning out the back window still staring at the screen because I was fascinated. So I didn't actually get to see that one until a while later.
It's strange what people are scared of and then what parents judge, because I think Nightmare, and I haven't watched them side by side. I think Nightmare on Elm Street is a little more explicit in terms of the amount of blood you see.
Oh yeah.
Where like this film Halloween, like, okay, there's this evil being who's not, you know, who's just so evil he's beyond even being human, who's just hunting down these innocent and some not so innocent youths, and that's scary. But it's not gory. It's certainly not by modern standards, by our current standards. It's not gory or explicit at all. But even compared to some of the things that came later in sort of the mid 80s, it's not explicit. So maybe that's maybe she's like, yeah, the killing's okay, but I like it, you know, keep it dry. I don't want the red stuff. Who knows?
How about you, Dave? With
Yeah,
this movie?
same question, Mr. Pallas.
All right, what's the order of the questions?
Number 2 is, what is your history with the film Halloween?
Let's see. History of the film Halloween. I bet you the first time I watched it was probably on AMC. So it was probably like I watched a TV edit of this. But mostly I'm not a huge horror fan. I'm definitely not a slasher fan, but I think I rather would watch this Halloween film over the other slasher franchises. Like I would watch this over Freddy or any of the Friday the 13th films. Mostly because at least in this movie, because there's so really little known about Michael Myers, like you could still believe he's human.
Yeah.
Or you can believe he is like he's become so evil he's past it. Like whereas Freddy and Jason seem to live in the supernatural from the get-go. Whereas like I'm sure the mother in the first Friday the 13th is kind of an anticlimactic killer. Like, oh, it's just some old lady. Oh. But then obviously like Jason at the end with coming out of the lake, and then we have Jason himself. And then we have Freddy and Haunting Dreams. I didn't care for that kind of supernatural. I think I cared for more scientific supernaturals like The Blob, like The Thing. And maybe that's another reason why I like Halloween more, is maybe because it made just John Carpenter's touch of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows what needs to be in it. And somebody wrote an article recently about how, like, you know, not just because of the music, but just the vibe, how Hateful Eight is like a horror film as well because of that. The you know, something happened here and you're not sure, and you know, it plays like The Thing too, where you don't know who to trust. So yeah, I think I first of all was watching television cut, and I think that's the thing with Halloween is it's not as violent, that they don't really need to cut a lot of Halloween.
No.
You get to have you get to have most of the kills, and I said, how, Michael Myers, like, the best parts are when he does those silent behind them moments, and then he's gone. He plays that boogeyman perfectly.
Yeah, they added scenes for television because it was too short.
Oh, interesting. What scenes? I don't know. I don't know if I remember them, but like, is there certain scenes that come to mind?
There's a scene in 1964 where Loomis talks to like the doctors about keeping Michael locked away, and he goes and visits Michael as a kid. And then there's a scene with Laurie and Linda. Linda comes to borrow a shirt. Like the shirt she's wearing is actually borrowed. They filmed three scenes when they were making Halloween 2. Because the first one was going to be on TV and it was too short. So they got everyone together and filmed some scenes.
I feel like I remember the shirt scene for some reason. I remember. I think I like the reason I liked parts in Halloween. I think I like this is that he walks around the day, which I think is just kind of it's almost like that's rule breaking.
Yeah,
the killer is not allowed to walk around the daylight, and he does.
Yeah. Well, I like the point you made, Dave, about the John Carpenter and just the touch that there's so little there that leaves so much to the imagination, and that's really a horror film. To get the horror, to get scared, it has to be the imagination, because logically we all know this is just an image on the screen, and even if it's a documentary, even if it's showing us actual true events, we're just watching, it's just moving pictures. So there's no threat to us. And additionally, because we know it's a story, we know it's fiction. So it has to be the imagination. And John Carpenter just leaves it wide open. Is it supernatural? Is he just a messed up guy? Is it magic? Is it a zombie? We don't know. It's up to us. And, and it's really, the contrast struck me is, speaking of kind of warming up to this genre in my later years, watching the remake, Rob Zombie's Halloween remake, and I did not like that at all. That, for folks that haven't seen that, that opens with a much longer introductory sequence than this movie, giving you all kinds of backstory of Michael Myers as a kid, and I'm like, he's a little kid. I'm not scared of him now. Now it's in a horror film with no horror. Yawn. I mean, unless you're Young Frankenstein, where you can say, well, I'm not scared of that monster. Yeah, but you're laughing, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Or even something like Scream, where, they're going for the joke and there's a comedy angle. Mm-hmm. Like this, if you're not scared of this, then it's like, ugh. And they kind of make him sympathetic. He's a kid who gets bullied and he's fighting back. And I'm like, ugh. No one comes to Halloween to root, to sympathize with Mike Myers. I mean, I guess there's people that go against the grain and want to root for the bad guy. But so I really like the openness that just kind of leaves so much to the imagination. Yeah, the touch that John Carpenter has, just giving you just enough to scare yourself.
Did you? I think when a horror film that I like that maybe could be closer to thriller than horror, but did you ever watch the Poughkeepsie tapes?
That sounds familiar.
No.
I guess we considered it indie. But the concept was essentially like it's Poughkeepsie, New York, and the police find a box of tapes, and the box of tapes was like left out somewhere, and it's done like a documentary, like you'd watch on A&E or like 48 Hours, and what it is that the cops are telling how they're going through the tapes and are finding there was a serial killer, and for like years he was kidnapping and killing people, and they didn't know anything about this. And so it's kind of a thriller and a horror because this guy's, we never see him. He's just recording stuff. And so it's like he left the tapes out because it's like he wanted the police to know that he did this. And I think if I remember correctly, one of the scenes I don't know if it was like, it could have been in front of the cop's house. The cop finds out that like this guy was filming on his camcorder and he was talking to like the police officer's like daughter, like in the front yard. And he was just having a pleasant conversation with her, and then he drove off. And it was like the detective finds out that his like 4-year-old daughter at some point when he wasn't looking was talking to this guy. You know, it's scary in that where it's just like there's a guy out there, and no, we don't have a rhyme or reason for why he was doing this. So that's something to check out. And I think it's the vibe I get with Michael Myers, that he just kind of we know the least amount of him. It's not where like, you know, Jason for the most part walks around Camp Crystal Lake, and you know, Freddy haunts the nightmare of the people. It's like those they have like these rules, whereas Michael Myers really doesn't have rules.
Well, he's got a location, but yeah, he doesn't have a location, reason until later.
Yeah, he doesn't need a reason.
No.
Question about Haddonfield.
Yes.
Since I know you said it's a Haddonfield of a different state, but that's not a real town. It was filmed somewhere else, but the name is from the New Jersey Haddonfield. Is that all true?
Yes. It is named after Haddonfield, New Jersey, because that's where Deborah Hill grew up.
Okay.
But Haddonfield in the movie is in Illinois, just outside Chicago.
Okay.
But it was filmed mostly in South Pasadena and Hollywood, near here.
Yeah, I don't think, honestly, I'm like a minute away from Haddonfield. I don't think they've ever done any Halloween like of the movie celebration of the town. At least that I know of. They
never celebrated it?
No, I don't think so. You know what they should have put in Haddonfield, or in this movie's Haddonfield? They should have Michael Myers walk past a statue of the Hadrosaurus, which is it's one of the first like dinosaurs that was found in like the country, and it was found right outside of Haddonfield, New Jersey.
In New Jersey, nice.
Yeah, so it's called the Hadrosaurus, and there's a statue in town. They should have had that as like an inside joke for those really hardcore Haddonfield fans. Like, I put Hadrosaurus. Look at that.
Yeah. Well, they should get in because now since Groundhog Day was filmed in Woodstock, Illinois, they've kind of jumped on that Groundhog Day gravy train, and it's kind of a big deal out there. So Haddonfield, New Jersey could set up could be the Salem of South Jersey, be the big Halloween destination. Get your PR people on this. Where's like the local, the civic club or whatever? Get somebody on this. Yeah, they're letting money go. Come on,
someone's slacking.
Yeah. I mean, it's too late for this Halloween, but start planning for next year.
Yeah. And they got nice big houses and stuff. I mean, they could pick like probably a street in Haddonfield somewhere and pretend, you know, dress it up and make it look like it's the one from this movie.
Now, we haven't actually talked about the minute yet, have we?
It's all prep. It's all warm up. It's all prep. We gotta prep up.
It's all,
and we'll come back we'll get to question 3 in a little bit, cause it comes up later. So, the minute begins, Lindsay hangs up the phone.
Like a boss.
Yeah.
Just like, I ain't talking to you. Click.
And we hear a couple lines of dialogue from the Thing from Another World. Mm-hmm. And then she goes outside to tell Annie that Paul called.
You know, I think it's good that she hung up, because I think it's like, look, she clearly knows her sister is out in the laundry room.
Dave does continue to confuse Annie and Lindsay for sisters. I do correct him later.
Or the laundry shed. And, which, that's weird. I got notes about that, the laundry shed. It's like, why do that? Like, this house it looks like a nice house. You couldn't fit a laundry room in the house?
In the novelization, Lindsay tells Annie that her mother didn't like the noise.
Oh, F that.
Well, and that's, that's
why it's buried in the basement.
Right.
Like,
yeah, put it in the basement, because this is, so obviously filmed in Southern California.
Yeah.
Because Illinois, so what are you're gonna put on a parka and shovel snow?
Yeah.
Before you do the laundry?
Yeah.
Your kids are gonna be wearing clothes 6 months out of the year.
Yeah.
You gotta go outside to get
Hollywood,
to the laundry.
So.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, this whole setup. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched this minute, I was just like, and they have a fridge here. I'm like, is this that freezer fridge that like your friend's parents had? Where it's like a fridge that's sat in the garage and it's turned to maximum because it's their actual like big freezer. That's where they store like bulk freezer items from BJ's.
Yeah,
we had a freezer
fridge.
like that.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Rob?
We had a freezer like that. It was in the back room of our house. It wasn't in a shed, but we did have a freezer that was as big as a refrigerator.
And
yeah, it's got beer and then like a frozen turkey, and like when you have, it's Thanksgiving, you're gonna have the family over. Yeah. The overflow that can't fit into your main fridge goes out to the shed.
Yeah. But this whole. That's why I think she hung up. She's like, "Oh, I gotta go out to the laundry shed." Oh God, fine. She'll call you back in a minute. All right, line's running.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like it's just so dumb. Like you gotta run like, what do you think? It's like I don't know, 20 yards to the shed from the back. And then
when she goes, I would just open a window and yell.
Yeah, and then she's
Annie.
stuck back here because she locked herself in the laundry shed, so you can get locked out from the inside. Yeah,
because Lindsay opens the door no problem.
Right.
So it's not locked on the outside, but somehow Annie, and now they're not locked in.
No.
It's not like, Lindsay has to climb out the window. I don't know what's going on. Annie's just a little messed up in the head.
Well, yeah.
And then Annie, I'm guessing, is wearing like Dad's work shirt or something, like, because clearly that's not her. I don't think that's her. Is that her school outfit? Like,
wait, have you not seen the movie?
Dude, you told me to watch the movies. You told me to watch these minutes.
It's been a while, I'll admit, for me. It's been a while since I've seen the whole thing.
She was making popcorn, heating up butter. She spilled it all over her clothes, and she's washing her clothes. So she grabbed this shirt from the laundry, like by the hamper.
Well, whose shirt is this then?
It would be Lindsay's dad's.
Yeah, it is his dad's shirt.
It's his dad's work shirt, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, also, it's long enough that when she's walking back to the house, it's almost, it's almost like a dress or a skirt. Like, it goes pretty low down.
So right. We can. I was going to worry more about this. This is more of a minute 50 thing.
Okay.
So this could all just be avoided by if they had microwavable popcorn in 1978. Like this whole thing. All this, the laundry shed, all this whole scene. We could have shortened this movie about, but like, oh, you want a popcorn to watch this really bad 1955 film that John Carpenter did a way better job in 1982? Well, let's just plug some popcorn.
Yeah, but you still, it would still happen because it was the butter that she spilled and the one microwave popcorn.
Do you know how much butter stains are on my shirt, Sean?
From microwave popcorn,
yeah. How much I care anymore? God, I look at my shirt sometime and I go, what grease stain is this? Yeah. What grease stain is this?
Yeah, but just see,
Sean, I had to put my bed sheets in the washer today. You know why? Because there was blood on them because I shaved and I went to bed and I never even checked if I cut myself. All right, I woke up next to blood on my pillow. And I was like, "Oh my God, what did I do?" And I was like, "No, I'm just a."
What did I? Oh no, not again!
It's like, no, I'm just a bum, and I shaved wrong, and I should use the clean razors. That's life, Sean. Yeah. I don't know what my point was, but that's life.
I'm just saying, so Annie isn't as like grizzled and cynical and burnt out as we are. She still cares, so she's still doing the laundry. Give her a few years, come back in Halloween 5 and there's just mustard stains all up and down and then she lives because she doesn't get off the couch.
We're the laundry shed of the Movies by Minutes community.
Yeah. I'm just telling, yeah.
Come on back to the laundry shed.
Yeah. Bring it on, Michael Myers. You're not catching me in the shed. If you're going to kill me, you're going to have to come to the living room right in front of the TV.
Well, he doesn't get her in the shed. Spoilers. He doesn't get her till she's in the garage.
Oh. Kill me and stuff me in the garage freezer.
You don't want to be in this refrigerator, though, because the production actually unplugged it and forgot to plug it back in.
Yeah, because they didn't want any compressor noises, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I'm an old 70s fridge. And I'm making noise. What's going on?
I like we get maybe it's too strong to say I like, but I notice the the good panty shot we get of Annie as she's stuck halfway out this window. And back in a time when, we didn't have an internet, you didn't have pictures of, of the appropriate sexually attractive gender if you're into that thing, on your phone in your pocket at all times.
Yeah.
So, panty shot of a woman stuck halfway through a window. That might be enough to carry you through a Saturday night.
If that's what you're into.
Man.
If she survives this night, and then her dad's gonna find the shirt. He goes, "Why does my shirt smell like old butter and perfume?" And he puts his shirt on in the morning, goes to work, and like, "Gary, you smell hot and flavorful." And my daughter must have put this shirt on because she doesn't know how to pop popcorn in 1978. She doesn't know how to mix the oil and the kernels and stir it around and. All just to watch an old 50s film. It's not that good. I got baggage.
All right, and then so we see Annie and Lindsay turn around and just start the 7-mile uphill hike to get back to the house.
Yeah.
God, yeah. and there's also they also have extra potted plants back in the shed in case you didn't have enough potted plants in the backyard. There's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I've got easily 20 potted plants back there. Ma'am, you just want a garden, right? Just place a garden.
Just plant them in the ground.
You're
outside.
Yeah.
What's the point of a potted plant sitting on dirt?
A few potted plants, it's cute, and then it's diminishing returns. It's now it looks messy.
Right.
Because they're all different shapes and sizes too. So it's the uniformity of just potted plant. Ugh.
Yeah. Is Mom a hoarder? I mean, I think Dad isn't even going to notice the butter and popcorn smell in his shirt because he's like, how many more potted plants am I going to come home to tonight? She doesn't stop.
Yeah. Did you rob the garden center again, honey?
Yeah.
You klepto.
It's the end of October. These are all going to die. Frost is going to come through. But she just can't help herself.
Keep these potted plants. Next spring, we're going to do something with them.
I'm going to grow tomatoes. I'll grow a bunch of tomatoes. We'll can some. We'll have sauce. We'll make BLTs. God. Kill me now, please.
I'm going back to this laundry shed.
We have a smoke out behind the laundry room. Excuse me, the laundry shed.
The laundry shed, yes.
The laundry shed.
I honestly don't even know how. I'm actually doing the math in my head how she got her legs stuck. It doesn't matter. Mike, I want Mike Myers just to come in and just stab it out of pure just. Oh, this is sad.
She does have her foot wedged up pretty well in those shelves.
Yeah, her torso is 80-90% out. All she had to do is just I don't know. I know a men's torso, I know they say is we're imbalanced top wise. So it's if you just rolled forward a man's body would tug, and I know women's are probably more balanced. So I don't know if she could get the inertia, but you could just roll out that window. Just roll out.
Yeah, because the hips, the center of gravity is a little bit lower, but yeah, I don't remember what's on the other side of the laundry shed. Maybe is it a steep drop on that side? Maybe it's further down on that side than it is on the door side. So yeah, I don't know.
It's probably neglected bags of root mulch. Just bags of root mulch she bought months ago and never opened.
There's a big pile of loam. Yeah. Got a few meters of loam delivered. It's just sitting there.
So question 3. Have you ever been stuck anywhere? Embarrassing.
Stuck. No, I remember. The only thing I can remember almost getting stuck, but I bugged the F out was we're out in West Pennsylvania, and there was some rocks that it was kind of people would go in. It was we're the Boy Scouts, and it was people were going in and crawling around. I remember crawling, and then it got low to the part where you actually had to crawl. And I remember crawling and like the ceiling of the rocks are getting tighter. I go, no, I'm backing out. Like, no, I'm okay with walking around in a cave, but I was like, I'm not crawling like that's where that movie Descent came from, where it's just like, people are just like, oh, we'll spelunk and we'll crawl around these rocks. Nah, no thanks. So, no, I'm pretty smart. I haven't got myself stuck in anything.
Yeah, I can't think of any times I've been stuck in places. I know once when I was a kid, we got locked out of my grandparents' car and the alarm was going off. We couldn't figure out how to turn it off. The alarm was on. It was one of those things. This is way back when car alarms were a new thing. And I guess neither of my parents had one on their car, but my grandparents had it on theirs. And it was one of those things where they were going away on a trip and the grandparents drove to our house and left their car with us. For some reason, they didn't want to leave their car at home. They left the car at our house, and then my parents drove them to the airport for them to go on the trip. And then one night, their car alarm started going off, like beeping and horns going off and lights flashing. And we were locked out of the car. We couldn't figure out how to get in. We couldn't get it open, and we couldn't get the alarm to turn off. So we were trapped out of something, not in something. But that's the closest thing I can think of. I'm pretty wily. It's hard to pin me down. I don't get stuck in places.
I got my head stuck between parts of a railing once when I was a little kid. Like I was able to get my head through, but then because of my ears, I couldn't get back out.
Oh, the classic head in the railing.
Yeah.
Nice.
And my father actually bent the metal to make room for my head to come out. It was cool.
Damn.
Oh, wow. Saved your life.
Yeah. I've only ever heard, I don't really remember it. I've only ever heard stories, but yeah. Apparently he ran over and bent the metal. I'm like, that's cool.
Wow.
He's Superman. Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, he's Superman. Where are we?
All right. So what else do you want to say about minute 49?
Second 44. Annie steps onto something. I don't know if she hits a bucket or what. We can't see her feet. But when she looks up at Lindsay, it's like, promise me you won't tell anyone about this. And for a second, it looks like she trusts that this girl is going to keep her secret. And she is not.
I don't think the little sister really is like, this is nothing of worth. Like, this isn't like I caught you and your boyfriend and you guys are like, in the backseat of a car. It's just like, you got locked in the thing. Like, that's, what's that worth? What's that worth to me? Like, it's nothing. Like, you got stuck doing, like, chores. That's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, blackmail-wise to the parents, it's not worth anything. That's what it is. You gotta save those moments. You gotta bank those moments. I don't have siblings, but that's what I assume. You have to bank those blackmail moments when it really matters.
Yeah, that's kind of what it seemed like. Yeah, Lindsay was like, I didn't know there was anything to tell, but since you mentioned it, I wasn't gonna, but since you brought it up, I guess now I got material on you.
Lindsay, the dutiful younger sister, could you just answer the phone for your boyfriend? I just want you to watch the movie. This is how she's spending
missing
her Halloween.
the movie right now.
Rob, tell me why she's spending her Halloween like this.
Who?
Well, yeah, why isn't Lindsay out trick-or-treating?
She doesn't even have a costume. I don't know if she went. Like, Tommy, the boy in the movie, has a costume. He went trick-or-treating. He's got a bag of candy. It doesn't seem like Lindsay even went trick-or-treating.
Yeah, it's like this is what she wore to school today.
Yeah.
She just came home, and then she's like, well, I guess this is my evening.
She doesn't care about anything.
This is my life now.
This is my life. I'm just going to watch old movies I'm too young to care about and just eat popcorn that my sister can barely make. So, yeah. Sucks. I mean, I don't know. It's 1978. Does pizza delivery? Pizza delivery's got to be around 1978, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, second 56, Annie and Lindsay walk back into the house in the minute, and then minute ends. So, I guess that is all for minute 49?
Yeah, I mean, It just looks like younger sister is just dutifully to the point. Older sister, klutz. Complete klutz.
Now, I'd say we'll go Sean first and then Dave. How can the listener stalk you?
Please don't stalk me. But if you must. I do a lot of things. I did a thing called Groundhog Minute, where I watched the movie Groundhog Day 1 minute at a time with my buddy Dave Pallas, and you can find that at groundhogminute.com. And if you do, a little bonus, if you listen to that show, one of our guests was a particularly crazy gentleman who watched not just 1 minute of Groundhog Day, but the entire film every day for a year and wrote a blog about it and then came on our podcast and talked about it. So you can hear that at groundhogminute.com. And then the place where I'm sending people, if you really want to stalk me, head on over to catandshawn.org. That's cat, C-A-T, and Sean, S-E-A-N.org. And it's my little personal site. There's nothing there, but just on the homepage, I have a list of all my podcasting stuff. So it's a link to the Groundhog Day, a link to my previous Movies by Minutes foray, a Spinal Tap Minute, where I covered the movie This is Spinal Tap, 1 minute at a time, with a great co-host, Heidi Bennett. And it's also got links to my various guest appearances and other podcasting activities. So you can find that at catandshawn.org.
Is Dave going there right now? I hear typing.
Rick brought up a great point. I had a comment before I forgot that. Oh, Rick's so smart. Goddamn him. No, this is how I want you to stalk me. I want you to stalk me in this particular way. I want you to, you're gonna get on the Rising Storm Vietnam server. You're gonna find the one that I'm on, and I'm gonna be like up on some North Vietnamese hill, and I'm gonna be near the radio man. I'm gonna call in some air support, and I want you to get on the proximity chat. You're gonna be right behind you and be like, I didn't even like Mystery Men. I'm gonna turn around and then you're gonna team kill me right in the face, and that's how I want you to do it. But outside of that,
happens,
find me over at 5minutesofmystery.com. I'm always talking about Mystery Men. Trying to just scrape up some new listeners, some new fans of the film who've never seen the film, and talk old superhero superpowers.
And Michael Myers Minute is a production of Lemming Drops Studio. You can find more content at lemmingdrops.com. Stalk me on Twitter and Facebook at Myers Minute, or Instagram, which is much more fun lately, Michael Myers Minute. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a nice review if you like what you hear. Until next time.
See you later. Bye. Bye.
It's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare, huh?